All right, might as well get this build started for Mr. Darren Sayer. Feels like it should be illegal having this much equipment. First, Ryzen 5950X. Dark Hero motherboard, Asus ROG, one of the best X570 motherboards for the Ryzen 5000 series. Gigabyte Vision Unique 3090 GPU. See here, we can get it. Two 2TB Evo Plus 970 Samsung SSDs. $32GB of DDR4 36 megahertz CL16 16 16 16 36 4x8. So we're gonna test out the quad channel theory, quad channel versus dual channel. 1000-watt EVGA supply, Gold Plus. And back here, I'll show in a minute, is the Coolmaster H500M case. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, I almost forgot. It's in the box, Amazon box, just came yesterday. The CPU cooler. Oh, you can't see here. NZXT Kraken Z73 with the LCD display. All right. Doesn't seem like much, but it's about $4,800 worth of stuff here. All right. First, I always like to start off prepping the motherboard first. So I'm going to put these aside for now. And transfer the camera. Or is it the phone? Let's see here. Hopefully this works. All right, nice view. I'm gonna stop that swaying. Also make you sick. All right. Tools. Trusty iFixit kit. Phillips screwdriver. Short-handled Phillips screwdriver. And another Phillips screwdriver for the various head sizes. Obviously a few zip ties. A few Velcro tie-offs for the cable management, and the case will come with some as well. And for the CPU cooler, Cryonaut Thermal by Thermal Grizzly. All right, let's start off with the motherboard prepping first. If the case is big enough, I like, see, the seal is still on here. This is the one I haven't opened yet. I have already installed mine. If you saw in the background in the intro, we had two of these. And this is an awesome motherboard. This opening does not even give it justice. You can see there's a Republic of Gamers little emblem here. Nice little protection. Yep, no, we don't need that. Let's just go ahead and pull the motherboard out with the cardboard. Coffee coaster, another coffee coaster, some stickers, and user's manual. Where's my user's manual? I'd hate to, but I think I got it off of memory. If I do need it, because I just installed this on my own personal PC. May not need it. So, various cables and stuff. I will leave them in the box for now. And go and pull the motherboard out. I will use the box as the workstation to prevent any other anti-static. It actually does come with an anti-static bag. And go and put the motherboard. Now I'm going to have this pleasure twice of removing the stickers because the protective film, I actually accidentally left the protective film on the back plate on my motherboard. Now I can't remove it because it's shoved in the PC case. So I won't make that mistake again on this build. So I've already installed one of these. I know the proper procedures and how quickly, so this video won't take as long. So, ooh yeah. Oh, hold on. Ooh yeah. Most satisfying thing, Darren. Sorry, man. Sorry you do not have this pleasure. Wow. Look at that. Dark Hero. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'll speed it up a bit. I'm enjoying this too much. All right, first the SSDs, because they are quick and easy. These are the heat sinks here. Now we have two M.2 NVMe. This is the thermal paste that will stick on. Barely the right size. Okay, now let me go ahead and grab the SSDs. Actually, what I will need, and I think it's in this motherboard. I am looking for, I will need that. These are the little tiny standoffs and screws. For the SSDs. Put that back on here. All right. And yank this off. I still keep the bag. Actually, I don't need to keep the bag because we're using both of them. And I like this dark workstation here because I can see that. Now, I know this one needs to stand off. Actually, yes. This one needs to stand off right here. These things are so tiny. Come on. Not off to a great start, am I? There you go. Just needs to be finger tightened. And no standoff here, because actually I noticed the NVMe is as long as this, and we actually need the heatsink to keep it in. All right, two Samsung SSDs. I just had my box cutter, still brand new and sealed. Again, 2 terabyte NVMe Evo Plus 970s. I'm just authenticating the hardware because I'm pretty sure you want to see and make sure I'm installing your stuff and I'm not, you know, that I'm not taking the stuff in. There's one. Alright. I'm going to remove the protective film from this thermal pad. This is not paste, this is just a thermal pad. So this is, it's kind of like clay. It should take shape of whatever it lays on top of, but doesn't necessarily stick to it completely. There's one in and two in. My own personal opinion about SSD heat plates, I think they are more for aesthetic and some of the lower performance drives. The only thing that actually gets hot is the memory control, is the I can't talk today. The flash controller chip, if you're doing constant writes. So maybe if you're doing a lot of video editing, a lot of rendering where you don't even have enough RAM and you're page caching to the SSD, I can see the SSD getting pretty hot. But that's the reason why you should have, if you're doing a lot of video editing, large files like 4K files, that's where you probably should have 64, 128 gig of RAM. That way you don't need to page cache into the SSD, keeping it hot. But it looks cool. Some people say you gotta have it. You don't have to have it. But it does keep the motherboard nice and sleek. So I do agree with that. Otherwise, if you don't care about looks, if you don't have an SSD NVMe heat plate, heat sink, don't worry. It's not needed at all. Other people tell you otherwise, but what do they know, right? I'm just in the semiconductor business also. See, that one fits perfectly, but we're gonna have to hold that down with the heat sink. Otherwise, we can just leave it off. So I have to align this one. And there we go. Don't worry, I'll wipe my smuggy fingerprints off this. I would go live, but there's some editing I want to do as I'm doing this. It would be cool to do this live, but different time zones, my equipment, my live stream equipment is such a pain to move over here. I'm doing all this on my iPhone. Oh, hopefully. Okay, got the 2 SSDs installed. That was pretty easy. Easy peasy. Let me put these aside. I like to keep the boxes, and I will give you the boxes. Maybe not the Samsung ones, but we'll see. All right. Processor, 5950X. Sealed. Ooh, that felt so good. All right. It's empty. No, it's not. Here we go. Nice tint. Let's go ahead and give her a twist. I don't know if you want the Ryzen sticker or not, but not necessary. I don't like putting stickers on anything I have. Looks nice. Unlock the socket, lift it up. Pin 1, pin 1. Right, you could always tell because Ryzen puts the logo, AMD puts orient their chips with the socket where pin 1's always in reference to this socket here. But I believe there is a marking, but the user's manual says that pin 1 is over here. So, yep. And actually probably wouldn't even fit in. All right. There we go. Nice and secure. Easy. Now, I'm going to have the memory. Again, 32, CL16, 16, 1636, DDR4, 3600 RAM. Quad channel, baby. Sealed. All right, I am installing the RAM first here before the cooler or before anything. It's because I learned, at least with my case and the motherboard, that this heatsink pad and this got in the way of the cooler. It barely hit it here, and then the cooler and radiator with the fans come really close within while it was in the case. So you have to install the RAM first now, and then once you install the cooler, you can't pull out the RAM. It's because then the CPU, cooler, radiator, and fans get in the way. More stickers, yay! All right, let's install them in pairs first. So this is the first pair. Go in the. So if you were just installing dual channel, that would be B2 A2, and it's hard to see, but it's labeled here B2 A2. So that's how we're going to install this first pair, because this is going to be paired channels here, and this is going to be another paired channel here. So we're going to install this first, this way. And it's a good thing I ordered my own sticker RAM too. You got me to order to try. Even though I haven't seen any gains yet, I'm pretty sure there will be. Let me just push it in till it clicks in. Sorry, man, my head must have gotten away. I'm trying not to do that. Bring it closer here, centered. All right. Same orientation. So this is one dual channel here. Again, I'm trying not to get my head in the picture, in the shot. Here. All right. Click 2. 1 paired set. Actually, you know what? Let me clean up my mess here. Put this back. Put the CPU back in the box here. Toss the box. Putting this away nice and neat. Trying to keep my workspace clean. Now, this doesn't have any film, which is disappointing because the other set of RAM that you ordered had actually some protective film, but it's a nice metal finish. You probably won't be opening your case and playing with or touching the components as much, but the brushed aluminum, I think it's brushed aluminum. You can see the brushed aluminum is really nice quality in here of these. All right, the other channels. Put the sticker on the right side. Oh, she's tight. They're real close. All right, push and snap. And one more. It's actually been a while since I've ran any system with quad channel. Not since and not an actual real set. Last time I did this, I used 4 sticks of RAM is because I bought the two sets separately. So this is actually a full set that we have here. Just making sure they're all seated because I don't want to have to go back and fix it once the cooler's installed, and because that will cause an issue because I can't get to them if the cooler's installed. All right, so that's about it for the motherboard prep. I like to keep these clips down. Actually, there is one more thing for the motherboard prep, and that is and this is a reason why I like to work on the motherboard and put the CPU on first before putting it in the case, is because of the back plate. And I'll show you what I mean. So these are normal brackets, or if you're doing a boxed fan, CPU fan directly on CPU heatsink mount. But we're not going to use these. We're going to use these. We are going to use the mounting brackets of the NZXT cooler. So, and I need to get a Ziploc bag so I don't lose these things. In fact, let me put this screw back. Take this off so I know it's important. Yep. And all right, I'm gonna do stuff here so you can see it. All right, so I'll put these in the bag later. Let me grab the cooler. this away. You want your G.Skill stickers. I'll put all the stickers in one place for you. G.Skill, AMD, Dark Hero. Alright, so there's that. I need to grab the mounting screws for the bracket. So I don't know if you can see. Ooh, it just came out. So this just came out of the motherboard. This is the bracket. So that's why it's important to work on the motherboard and CPU with a cooler. While it's out of the case, because how else are you going to reach? And if you need to change the bracket, or you need to screw something else into the bracket, how else are you going to keep this held on? So here, the box is going to hold this bracket in. I'm going to cheat here and use this screw. This literally comes in. Keep it on the anti-static bag. There we go. All right, I'm installing too much. I need to work faster. All right, I'm gonna push this out of the way so you can see the unboxing of the cooler. There we go. Put this box away. This is the radiator and the head unit. We'll use that later. These are for the fans that I'm looking for. Are they in here? Where are they? Here they are. This is what I'm looking for. Mounting hardware. All right. Bring this back. And I need these. It says AMD. So the cooler is for both Intel and AMD. Come on. So there's one. Just hand tighten. Two. I don't necessarily need to go and using crisscross pattern, but it's just a habit. Form a habit. Anytime there's multiple screws, nuts, bolts surrounding something that's supposed to hold something in place, I do like to do a star pattern or a crisscross. All right. Okay, I'm basically about done prepping the motherboard. Things to point out with this motherboard. Again, so this we talked about earlier. The size of this heatsink and the size of these MOSFET chips deliver a lot more power than other motherboards that cost less. You can see the VRAM and caps here. They're a lot larger than others. You got two PCIe times 16 slots, so if you ever wanted to run SLI, which I doubt you'll ever will, especially with 23090s, no one's using it. High-end digital audio here. That's what's helping the SPDIF here, and two Ethernet ports, one that's 2.5G and one that's normal 1 gigabit. USB Type-C, a bunch of USB ports, USB 3, USB 3.1, and one for debugging or flashing the BIOS. Clear BIOS reset, in case I was playing with this when I was trying to overclock my 5900X, and when it wouldn't boot, you just hold this BIOS clear and then BIOS flash. So if you plug in the USB here, push this button, it'll flash the BIOS itself for an update. We're not using them, but look at all the SATA ports you've got. I do like how many fans there are on here. For fans, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These doubles also as a pump for liquid separate open loop cooler pumps. And another one here. Oh, and one more here. Lots of fans. I hate motherboards when there's only 3 fans. That's including the CPU. 3 fan header connectors. Doesn't leave a lot to expand. You have to get a fan controller. Okay, let's get that out the way. And we are going to prep the case now. All right, gotta change video. Gotta switch to the other position. Okay, I had to relocate the camera back up here, so I could show you this. This is what I unscrewed from the back earlier. Let me see if I can give it to you. This is both a fan controller and ARGB controller, and so there's 2 ways to control the RGB, and I'm just gonna hook up both in case you want to change your mind. Again, this is a SATA connector power supply. There is a micro USB cable that came with the kit here, and we plug this into the USB. This is to both control the fans and the ARGB, the LEDs in them. So this one way, but I'll put them in here both, and there's a little USB connector here, and I will, you know what, it's probably best I remove this from the plate. That way I don't try to screw anything up. So this, oh shoot, my head got in the way again. It always gets in the way. And so that plugs into here. Oh, she tight. Yeah, that's right. She just a virgin. First time being plugged in. And here is you get an extension cable, right, for any other RGB control. Actually, no, sorry. This plugs into the fans there. So I will plug this in. This is for the RGB sync. Yeah, no, that's it, Alan. Why don't you snap in, buddy? Maybe it goes in the other way? No. Doesn't match. Come on now. There we go. Such virgin holes. And then I'll put this back in the board here. I've got to bend this in a way where it doesn't get in the way. All right. And I'll put this in there for now and screw it back in. It looks like the power supply comes in from the back, and I don't have to bring it in from the side, which is good, like other cases. Actually, so the case part, the case is the hardest damn part of the whole build. Because there's so many things. It's very specific to the case. If you're not familiar with the design, you'll be doing what I'm doing, which is trying to see how things went. The back looks like there's no lip here. This is just held on by dropping in there. And I'll pull this cable. There we go. Right, there we go. I may have to open this later, but I won't do that right now because I don't have to. All right, I guess there's a little prep for that. Here are all screws for the case and motherboard. So the motherboard doesn't come with all the screws you need. The case does for the mounting and so forth. So let me turn this boy over. Sorry for my face being in the picture again. And getting ready for motherboard mount. So you get my trusty knife, or knife flathead. Now, can you see this? You can't see that. Interesting. Okay. Well, you don't need to see it, so I'm just taking the flathead and removing the glass. All right, so this is cool. This is your GPU bracket, support bracket. So you've got a longer one. Actually, it's longer than my EVGA. So, all right, looks like 1, 2, so only 2 are pre-installed. And so I already know the configuration of the motherboard. In fact, we could look at it now. It's kind of hard to see, but looking at the motherboard, the additional standoffs which we will need. One is definitely here. That's my girlfriend playing Call of Duty. One. I'm gonna shuffle to find these things. Man, it's just easier to dump it on the table. This is why I like working my pool table, because you can see all the screws because they're black.
Oh, bullshit!
So I know there is one here. Now, this kind of sucks because I have to tap in. So, another one here. Another one here. That one goes in nicely. The others I have to use a screw to drive them in further. So you can't see here, it's engraved EATX, ATX, Micro ATX, Mini ITX. So anything with an E and A, or actually an A, I need to put in a standoff. Which is stupid because they should have just put all the ones in. Yep, that one I have to drive in with the okay, so they give this little tool here. It's a little Phillips, like a socket. Interesting. I thought I would have to use a screw to screw it in and then tighten it down. So I just need one more. Come on now. Just one more. There it is. Alright. So put that in there. So it turns my screwdriver into a little socket driver. That's pretty nice, that's pretty cool. You know, I was thinking about doing an open case concept because I'm always fucking with my PC, doing something to it. Maybe build something custom, like into a table or something. Because a PC case is just such a inconvenience. Now, is this one stripped? No. All my screwdrivers are magnetized, but not too much to where they do damage. If you have too much magnetism, there is a possibility of the magnet passing by a component too quick, thus energizing it and causing current to run through it while it's off. And that's a bad thing. Okay. So, let's see if she fits. In fact, let's do this while it's here. Let me take this out. Since I tried to do the best cable management, so what we're going to try to do with this one is just run it underneath the motherboard. Let's see. Does that pop off? It sure does. Okay. Sometimes I wonder who does these twisty ties, because none of them are consistent about lefty loosey, righty tighty. Put this fan cable through here. That way it runs underneath the motherboard. And I'll grab it later. Actually, let me grab it right now. And then I could run it underneath through here, or more likely up top here. So if it doesn't work, I'll figure out a way. Now I'm looking at the motherboard. I'm gonna put it like this. Underneath the motherboard still, but I'll figure it out here in a bit. But I can't have it block. Can't have it block certain things. Where should I do with this? They give you such a short one. Because that sticks out there. All right. Now, the nice thing about this motherboard, it doesn't come with an I/O backplate. What's an I/O backplate? It's a little tiny shim that goes here. Most motherboards will come with it, but because of this has this case, it really has a shim and it sits nice and flush. It doesn't look ugly with that silver shim sticking out. Alright. So where did that fan go? There it is. All right. Hopefully this won't. Nope. It's going to block that GPU. What it needs to do is come this way. Perfect. There we go. Sorry for, all right. So now, I've got to find the right motherboard mount screws. Oh, I should have read the instructions. I just need to know because the size of the motherboard screws, they are 0.6. 0.6 screws look like. Okay, so they're. I don't even know why I'm showing you. It's hard to see.
God damn it, that's bullshit. I hit you in the head so many times.
That's right, baby. You tell them.
That's bullshit.
That is bullshit. You tell them.
I swear, this game is rigged.
They're hackers. They're hacking the game, baby. That's my girl. She's playing Warzone right now. She's mad now. She's talking in her dialect.
Hey, this guy is stupid. I swear.
Yeah, she gets mad like everybody else who plays Warzone. Sometimes she yells louder than me. Now, this motherboard in this case doesn't look too bad in regards to the clearance. I don't know if you can see the clearance here with the radiator. Mine was pretty tight, so we probably, it's not that my radiator and fans were hitting, it was just once you put the radiator and fans on top, you could not get access to the tabs here. That's the problem my case has. It doesn't look like your case has that problem. or would have that problem. One more. Actually, two more. So, now I need to put in the power supply first. Because I tell you that header is going to give me problems. So this is a semi-modular power supply, but all the modular stuff is really going to help here. So that's the, I know I'm off camera, but go to the power supply cables because I really need to put that one in first. That's the CPU supply. And because it's a Darkure motherboard, we're going to give it as much juice as we can. So that 8-pin plus 4-pin connector, it's going to look ugly because all these power supplies cables comes with 2 8-pins and 2 8-pins, and we only have 6.
I like this gun. It has a magnifying glass.
That's right, baby. Shoot with that gun.
How?
Yeah, baby.
Look.
All right.
This one.
I see it. I see it. Okay, so we have an 8. So we got 2 cables here.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It landed right here next to me.
So, not that one. We need that 8 plus 4.
This one has a magnifying glass.
There we go.
I like it.
Sorry. That's PCIe. That's for the VGA. That's why they're labeled. So CPU. CPU, 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 CPU. All right. This end goes to the power supply. So I'm going to do the 4x4 first. Flip together. It's funny because I totally forgot about this, but I would have put this cable in before I would have screwed the motherboard down. That's what I do with my setup. Because threading it. Threading it wasn't fun. Won't be fun. But your case is big, so. Now, here's the thing. I have to pull this one out here for this one 4x4 connector here. 2x2, sorry. Bless you, baby. I just want to make sure they're in. They didn't snap, but sometimes they just don't snap. They just gently lock in. All right. So I will thread that through when I lift the case up. I like to thread, I actually like to put the more PCIe, give you so many PCIe cables. Okay, so I'm gonna have to thread that one later. All right. Let me just go ahead and thread this now before I install the radiator, because it will get in the way. They gotta thread nice and flat and even so they don't look like freaking spaghetti. We want these wires to look nice and flat with no twists in them. Not only do they look better, they won't put a lot of stress on the cables, so I'll show you. They're completely flat. There are no twists or anything. Okay. Oh, okay. So we'll put the GPU on after I put the radiator in. So this is where I need to flip the case. Or actually, I could work on it right here like this. Let's see if we can get you a good view here. Okay. One, two, and three. The cables for the fans. And the bracket mounting. And radiator. So we are going to, and I already tested it out on my 280 millimeter radiator top mount. I hope you like how I'm going to route the hoses, because I've seen how they mount this and with the hoses. So for this one, you need to mount the hoses either to 3 o'clock or to 6 o'clock, because the LCD only rotates a certain way. Plus it's best for the whole bubbling thing. And I hate it when I see this come here, like they'll put, even though it's top mount, hose right here, and you see the hoses dip out and come like that. I did find a nice way where hoses dip out right here, come up. They might block this fan and then come up here, but I'll see, because I actually don't have an exhaust fan. I took mine out, mainly because I wanted to have a positive pressure case from right here. If you have you have 3 exhaust, 4 basically, 4 120 millimeter exhaust fans, and then you have 2 200 millimeter. So you have more exhaust than you have intake. That creates a negative pressure case, which is fine, I guess. But because it's a negative pressure case, that means all the air is going to flow straight into the intake here, and the GPU may get starved here. So I am going to go ahead and make a decision for you. Because it does work really well. In fact, I think I sent you pictures of mine where the hoses come out and they loop under, up, and this way. Even though the GPU is right here, they'll still clear it. But you know what? Let me just go ahead, stop this video, and ask you. Okay, we're gonna put the radiator on. So here are the fans mounted onto the radiator, and they are exhaust. So they're going to pull the air out. And let me go ahead and orient the case this way. All right. Get all my junk out the way here. So pull the bag out. Leave the protected this protects the paste from it. And we'll go ahead and mount. So before mounting the radiator, I actually need to take this top off. So there's a screw back here. So now you know how to, let me get it. There's a screw back here. And we will remove that screw, pull it aside, and then it's supposed to push, lift and pull. Lift up and pull this way. All right. And here is the radiator. I'll just mount it on it. That way I can keep an eye on the motherboard instead of this radiator mount does actually come out, but I wanted to keep an eye on this motherboard. So instead of just shoving stuff in, I want to see how things fit first. So with the hoses up front, the wires are here on the bottom instead of on the top, so that way they can be hidden better. And I will have the wires come in first. And all right, see how it barely clears the RAM? I know it's hard to see there, but yeah, it's hard to access the clips. So once this radiator is installed, it may be hard to access the RAM, but actually you have a mount here that is easily removed. So let me just go ahead and get one screw started here. And this is fine this way. I don't need to take out this radiator mount. But there is one hole here, and there are about 8 screws I gotta put in with a washer. So get this all screwed in here. Sorry, correction, not 8. There are 8, 10, no, 12 screws Forgot this is a 360 millimeter radiator or 3-fan setup. So I'm gonna get to screwing. So I've got the radiator installed and mounted to the top here. Also ran the fan cables underneath, so they're hidden. Can't see them. Let me put this down. And so they're tucked underneath there. So I know you said you wanted 3 o'clock position, this being 12 o'clock, but there's a problem with how the hoses are oriented, so they can't loop down like this because of how they're, so it makes it harder. I'm just going to leave it in the 6 o'clock position here, like this. So what I'm going to do here is remove this. I'm actually going to, let me remove that right now. This, I actually would going to use a good Cryonaut thermal paste. Let me clean that off. Just going to use some rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, 97%, and clean this off. All my builds that I've been doing, I never use the stock thermal paste because for A, you don't know how old it's been there. B, right, sometimes the paste that they use isn't the greatest. So there you go, nice and clean. And what we're gonna do is, this is the Intel bracket, remove that. Let me grab the AMD bracket. This is the AMD bracket. And also what we need are the cables. The cables, I learned on my build, is hard to plug in when it's already mounted to the board. So this is the USB cable that controls by the CAM software. So we're going to find what the USB cable is. So if we're going to mount it like so, this way, the USB cable is going to come here. And the problem is it's right angled this way. So it's going to go like that. And then the other cable is the fan controller cable. So we have the fan control cable here. This plugs into the pump, and then we have this plugs into the CPU fan cooler, so it doesn't give the error. These are the fans that control, that plug into the 3 fans on the radiator. This is an ARGB. There's no ARGB in this unit, but I don't know why they included this, so it's optional. And then this is the power, to power the fans itself, not to power the unit. Or maybe both, I can't remember, but this plugs in to this unit here, like so. All right, so now I'm gonna thread them through the case. on the bottom. Alright, so I've got the radiator mounted, ran the USB cable and the fan controller cables hooked up here. Little hole here to make it nice and neat. I was just test fitting the bracket to make sure I oriented it right. Because you can twist this bracket in different ways. So what I'm going to do is set this aside here. Going to use a cryo knot. Cryo knot liquid thermal paste. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a dab in the middle. All right, just enough there. Maybe a dab here. Wow, that wasn't much. So, used up all the cryo knot already. Just enough to do one application. And then I'm going to set this in. Like so, and gently push down. Okay, so now that I get it pushed down, I'll push it on all four corners evenly to kind of spread that thermal paste around, and then you have these lock secure nuts, or whatever you want to call them. So I'm just going to go in and hand tighten them slowly, one by one. I'm sorry, through that same hole up top. All right, I've got it securely mounted here, nice and tight. The wires are nicely tucked here. They're not putting too much pressure on the ram stick, and they're in a channel here going out the back. So hopefully that's as clean as we can get, which isn't too bad because we have these wires here, but nothing's gonna be left too messy here. So, all right. Okay, I went ahead and wired everything for the most part. The hard part, actually, it's the hardest part. The front panel, the front panel power button switch, the audio, the fan connector. This is the fan that for this one that we ran underneath the motherboard. The USB 3.0, the USB 3.1 Type-C that's in the front connector there. ARGB control for the fans to the motherboard, and these two fans are driven by the fan, one of the fan connectors up here. So and then I already started pre-wiring some of the power supply. You can see here it's in there. This is actually the longest part of the build, is the case itself, the case and all this spaghetti of wires, and I'll show you how my cable management at the back is. But honestly, that's the longest part of this whole process here. The motherboard, the memory, the SSD, the cooler, all that was fast. And now, put the case back on its back so we can go ahead and put the GPU on. And the last bit is going to be the GPU PCIe cables and how I route that. So I just want to do this bit here for, let's see, for wiring the, for installing the GPU. So go ahead and pull this boy out. I've already taken it out to take pictures, but you know how awesome this GPU looks. I think, let's just see how it looks with the, man, that is gonna be slick. Yeah, that will be slick. Okay, so I'll take this out, the protector here, leave this one there. Oh, let me put it back because I have to undo the slot screws. You'll put this aside on the anti-static bag. And then, just in case, I believe it's gonna take up these two slots. It's only a, yeah, 2-slot, 2.5 slot actually. No, 2 slots. 1, 2. All right, let me make sure this is pushed down. I actually like to leave these clips all open. GPU, pull out the protective plastic. Oh, I almost completely forgot the GPU stand. So I should loosen this. This is a cool feature. This prevents sag on your GPU. In fact, I need to look. Let's take a look here, how long this is. So I need to move it, sorry. I need to move this here. It's probably better placed that way. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, I've relocated the GPU bracket. Unfortunately, there was no way I could screw it in the middle here. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, so I relocated it here. If I left the GPU bracket here, it would have gotten it in a way in one of the edge of the fans. So, see here what I'm saying? If I would have left it there, it would have obstructed the fan. So I had to move it from here down to this side here. So let me go ahead and move that. And plug in this card. These plugs are in the way of me trying to get it in there. There we go. All right, looks all lined up. And just waiting for the snap. There we go. Retake. So from the earlier, I relocated the bracket because it was, if I left the bracket there for the GPU support, you would see here that it would obstruct one of the fans. If I left that bracket there, I could have completely removed it, but this is a long card. Even though I believe they reinforced the back plate to support the rest of the weight. But still, if you've got a GPU sag bracket here, we'll just use it. So I had to move it to this side. I couldn't move it here. There's no way to put it there. So we'll put it here to give you support. That way it's not gonna obstruct any of the fans here. All right. Oh, there's no protective film on this, or maybe there is, I just can't see it. I'm not gonna mess with it. Okay. All right. And let me go ahead and clean off the contacts just in case on the GPU. With alcohol, even though it's been protective film, I always like to clean it off because I may have touched it. I'm not saying I did, but again, the alcohol to clean off the contacts. All right, everything's all nice and dry now. Now to go ahead and line it up here. There we go. All right. Now, do I hear that snap? There we go. Nice and snug. It's a Virgin. It's first time in the hole. Unlike my, well, my other motherboard where I pulled my GPU out like 6 or 7 times already because I kept on making changes, adding parts to it, where I needed to pull the GPU out. And that's my girlfriend playing again. She's playing Warzone. She plays during the day. She plays anytime she gets. She plays more than me, actually. Not too tight, but nice and secure. You know what? The GPU bracket doesn't even work. Look at that. Yeah, I am going to, let's see how this works. Yeah, it is just shy of it. If there was some way I can mount it on this, that would be great, but there's no way I can. All right, I'm just gonna have to remove it. It's a little bit short. Yeah, look at that. Like what I could do. No, because when I mount it, it goes in this way and it'll hit. I don't know if you can see here, but let me turn it towards you. So, see the fans here? That's why I took out the bracket. All right, GPU's in. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this bracket. There should be a problem. Not with these cards. This is a nice, solid one-piece back plate, where the back plate is completely supporting the GPU. Unlike some of the other products like MSI that are using plastic, a plastic black back plate on these large GPUs, and then that causes it to sag. Nice, the hoses don't even touch. Look at that. Let's see. The only reason why I don't like the hoses in this orientation is because it covers up the RAM, the bottom part of the RAM. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and look how to route the PCIe cables. The best way of doing that, and then I'll go and show how I route that, or take a picture, or take a video of. Okay, so 1, 2. I like these EVGA cables because it's one cable per. And what I mean is one cable per PCIe. A lot of power supplies, my Corsair is notorious for this, where one PCIe has a piggyback, so you have two, but you're supposed to run, and it makes it look ugly. In fact, I love this. I love how it does it. It'll make it look nice and clean. Where's it? No example. I don't have an example to show you here, but you probably understand what I'm talking about. But this is really nice and clean. One PCIe connector for one PCIe cable instead of two PCIe connectors that double back. So this is going to make it a real nice clean install. In the future, I wish we had time to get the extensions. Maybe the colored ones. Kind of make it uniform, but I think you'll be happy with this. This is all black, thin. It's kind of got a semi-gloss to it, but it makes it look good. It's gonna match the case and everything. Okay. And run them through here. Oh man, this can't be good for my pool table. But it's okay. I need new felt anyways. One through the hole, two through the hole, and let me make sure they're all nice and neat. Okay, let's do it. I'm like you, Darren. I want things to look clean. Oh, sorry. So we'll leave it like that. So in order for me to leave it like that, I will need to Velcro this down to the other cables that I have here and use it as a tie down. Make it tight. And then route these nicely to the power supply area. So I'll worry about this mess later, as I may have to make adjustments because this is getting really thick here. I know you can't see it, but there's your nice clean PCIe cables, tubes, cooler,
2.33.
and so forth. So, all right, let me cut this video and let me wire the power supply 100%. How I routed it. Okay, one last one to wire up is the big 24-pin ATX board for everything else, RAM and peripherals. So this is always the fun one, especially to route. But let me just go ahead and get this in. "24 holes. I think it's easier to get that one big one started. There it is. And then get the small one in. There we go. All right, there it is. I heard it snap. I heard, so both of them are secure. All right. So I didn't loop it through the hole. This back plate here is really nice to cover the wires. So it comes in and through the back, loops through here. So you got a good case when it comes to covering wires. All right. So that's the final product. I know it's upside down from this point of view, but yeah. Actually, so what? Let me turn it around. There you go. I'll take the privilege of peeling this protective sticker off. Oh, I love doing these things. There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, next to put the cover on. Actually, leave the covers off and power it up and test it.